Your new home for podcasts and original music.
The Zagnif One Radio Network.
Nick Saban does not play anybody less than he doesn't put anybody less on the field than his very best players.
Bama does what Bama do.
Sorry,
I heard a noise. My bad. Somebody just left it on my step.
That Colorado defense is definitely underrated, but they ended up pulling it out late. They have one of the players to watch for, Isaiah Spiller.
Oh, it's better. It's better now. Trust me. Like back in the day, there was at least one murder. So I mean, it's better now.
you realize that you're not doing anything to press your case by getting me to go down there. Nah, man, come on down there. It was only one murder. Yeah, they're only averaging one murder a year.
And shout out to Florida. They're playing them this Saturday. Number 11 ranked Florida playing number 1 Alabama. So I think that's going to be a high scoring game. And
wow. Well played, Collin. Well played. I did not see that was coming. you get a double finger point, one for me and one for Sean. You know, you get.
Here we go. Get your popcorn ready.
Well, what's the big thing?
Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls of all ages from all around the world, or from the three of you that are probably watching us right now, including me, who's got it on my phone. We appreciate y'all tuning in this evening for another edition of This Week in SEC Football. I am Mr. Fingaz, coming to you from Zagnif Central, right there, that handsome fella over there, hailing from the great Peach State. Not in his normal spot. We switched it around a little bit on Hollywood Squares, like we talked about earlier. The brother from another, Collin P. And down there in this corner, I know you recognize this guy right here. He's got some other ventures going on. He wasn't feeling well this weekend, but he decided to join us anyway. And shout out, King. What are you, John Cena? What are you, Bob Sapp in a UFC match? You broke in my nose. That's not our king, Sean Spencer. Gentlemen, how are you guys doing this evening?
doing well. Oh, yeah.
Doing great, man. Doing awesome. How about yourself, man?
I am doing phenomenally, and I just realized I need to plug in my headphones. Otherwise, I'm going to get feedback from my speakers into my microphone, and people are going to hear everything twice. I normally have these on. I'm smart. I'm smart. I really am. I swear I am, people. Now, hang on a second. And there we go. Now we got you. So, yeah. Crazy week for college football this past weekend. I don't even know what to say. We'll get into a lot of it. But the first thing that we need to talk about, the craziest thing of all, there is a full-blown 3-ring circus going on right now in Norman, Oklahoma. For those of you that are not following, about just around the first part of the month, these rumors started circulating that Lincoln Riley was going to be leaving Oklahoma to go coach LSU to replace Ed Orgeron, who coached his last game last week. Kind of makes me sad he's not coaching that bowl game, by the way. If you didn't watch the game, he gave his very last "Go Tigers." So that's the last one you're gonna get. He's not going to coach the bowl game. They're going to have an interim coach. But anyway, I digress. The rumors were just kind of slight at first. And then this guy says, well, according to inside sources, they're offered Lincoln Riley $12 million, and he's expected to accept soon. And then I've actually got the timeline right here. So that was on November 9th. And then he missed his weekly radio show. He normally tapes the Lincoln Riley show, which they air on the franchise here in Oklahoma City on Wednesdays. He missed his show. He had somebody else run the show. So then the speculation really started. Then people started posting these, but man, dude, Kojak posting pictures of them tracking these flight plans. Oh, plane left Norman and went to Baton Rouge. He's going to get that bag. He didn't really address any of that. But the next week he turns around. At that weekend he turns around and they lose 14-27 to Baylor. The rumors really start getting hot and heavy. Then they really started going viral when there was an inside source, a very popular sports blog in Louisiana called LSU Odyssey, that said that he had a verbal agreement at the end of the season to accept a $12 million a year salary. And then there were the things that Collin, I think you were telling me about, the guy with the he got these people started following him on Twitter and on Instagram. All these LSU people started following him on Twitter and Instagram. Well, then flash forward a few more days, approximately 10:45 p.m. Central Time, OU loses in a 33-37 thriller in 2021 Bedlam up in Stillwater, and Oklahoma State winds up moving on to the Big 12 championship. In the post-game presser, he says, somebody asked the question, he says, I don't know what I can tell you guys. I am not taking a job at LSU. I am the coach at the University of Oklahoma. I don't know how much more plainly I can say that. Not 12 hours later, the announcement breaks. Lincoln Riley leaving to go to USC. And all hell has broken loose since then. We'll talk some more about it. We'll talk some more about it. Then, Collin, you got anything that you saw that popped up about it?
Not that I've seen, but I mean, I was gonna try to. I'm wondering what had changed, and within that 12 hours, it makes you kind of wonder what. Had he had his mind already made up? Or I mean, I know it's about money. What did we have the figure what he's getting paid? I didn't even see that. Did they announce how much he's getting?
He is going to take a $12 million a year salary. It's going to make him the highest paid.
Oh, that was it.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. Nathan Snell, thank you for joining us, sir. We need to get a clearer definition of what you mean by we, because we are talking about when you say we, that's very inclusive. And I'm not okay. Hey, look, I know they love them up there in College Park. Auburn, huh? We're gonna talk about Auburn too. You just be patient. We gonna get to it. Wait a minute.
We're definitely gonna talk about Auburn.
We gonna get to it. Guarantee. Okay, you happy? I use your little clip there. Sean, you got anything you saw about it coming your way? Because I know you've had plenty of time to sit back and observe some things.
Oh yeah. No,
since you've been on the podcast IR.
It's crazy. It's just crazy just to break it down and think about it. I mean, we've been talking about this team all year. And for the longest time, we thought the biggest thing was that quarterback controversy. Is Spencer going to stay? Is Caleb going to be the guy? But then you never thought, Lincoln Riley. But then in this day and age, outside of Saban, you look at all these big name coaches going different places. Mullen gets fired. Tucker. Everybody, there's all that speculation that he might go. Then Michigan State locks him up. You know what I mean? So it shouldn't surprise us. But look, USC, we've seen what that does to coaches. Some big name coaches have gone there and not done well, and then got the axe pretty quickly. So Lincoln, I hope that he is able to have success out there. But like you kind of talked about, Anthony, he had what do you have? He had Kyler Murray, he had Baker, he had the, Hurts, he had these big name quarterbacks that we know all play on Sunday. And now he has this guy that he put all his eggs in the basket and the basket broke. That one didn't work. Then you have this other guy that comes out the woodworks. It wasn't your guy, but he's making it big. But then you still can't get it done. You still are struggling, even though they beat Kansas, they were struggling against Kansas. So you still have things where it's kind of like Oklahoma should not be doing this type of stuff. So it's just weird, man. It's just weird.
To your point, that Anthony, you sent me that screen grab. Spencer Rattler's in the portal, right? Then he go to the portal after,
and that's part of the timeline. Like, I haven't gone through the whole timeline. So after all of that happens, he makes the announcement, and then let's see, where are we? So then this Sunday afternoon, that was the whole deal. He was supposed to tape his show. He sends a message that says, I'm going to be 3 or 4 hours late. Mind you, at that point, he was already in the plane on the way to Southern California. and he makes the announcement. He's already out of town, on his way out of town when he sends the announcement that he's taking the job at USC.
Man.
So then in the wake of that, they had 4 recruits that decommitted. That was all Sunday afternoon. 4 recruits decommitted, and I believe all of them were on the ESPN Top 300. And then he had 2 guys that were committed already to come here to play that he flipped already to go play at USC. Then, and see now, and so there's so much stuff flying around now. I don't know what's fact and what's fiction. I haven't sorted it all out yet. But what we do know is that our boy, Paula Tank QB1, he entered the transfer portal, sent out a message saying, "Dear Sooner Nation, thank you for allowing me to be a student athlete at this prestigious institution. I will cherish. I'll cherish everything." There's a whole lot of platitudes in here, but it said at the end, he closes by saying, "At this time, I would like to announce that I have decided to enter the transfer portal to continue my academic and athletic career. Thank you again, Oklahoma. I will miss you." Signed, Spencer Rattler. And that's you know what I'm saying? And so right now, I would imagine that Joe Castiglione, the athletic director, is in full panic mode. He had a class, as of right now, his 2023 class was projected to be the #1 recruiting class in the country.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was projected, but a year out, and people have time to flip recruits and things like that. But it was projected to be the #1 recruiting class in the country for 2023. He had the quarterback was the guy that was second on the list behind Arch Manning. That's who he was bringing to Oklahoma. That's the kind of talent he was bringing. And they're scrambling because they want to keep these guys. So right now, Bob Stoops is they have Bob Stoops coaching their bowl game. That much we do know. They had to go back to the last coach to win a championship and say, "Hey, we need you to come in." And I can only imagine how he feels. I mean, he was a guy.
My God, yeah, I was going to bring that up as well. I wonder how Stoops feels about all this as well.
Yeah, because he was a guy that he said, "Hey, son, here's the keys to my 65.
Here's the keys. Yeah, absolutely.
Here's the keys. Treat my baby well." And
he ran into a tree.
He just left it. He drove it down to Berry Farms and got out and left the keys in it. Is what he did.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
Because he said he was very, very adamant about the fact that he was staying at the University of Oklahoma. And then was on a plane to California a couple hours later.
Yeah, I mean that's not the first time a coach has done that. I mean, like they all the way up to the hill, all up to the timeline. They, I ain't going nowhere, and then they go.
And deuces.
Yeah, exactly. But again.
And so now what they have to do, I wouldn't be surprised if the AD asked Bob Stoops to stick around as a special advisor, even though he's retired and he's got this great job as a sports broadcaster. I think it's Fox Sports. And but now they're gonna have to him to stick around because they've got to get a high profile hire. They can't just go get a no name. They've got to get somebody.
And with the other teams, losing coaches, left and right, or some other teams losing left and right, they're being picked up. The good coaches are being picked up pretty quickly. So like you said, they're probably their heads are spinning.
Yeah, I mean, here's the short list right now. Well, this is the I won't say short list. These are names that have been considered that have been thrown out there already. Josh Heupel at Tennessee, Mario Cristobal in Oregon, Dave Aranda at Baylor, Matt Campbell at Iowa State, Mark Stoops, Luke Fickell, Lane Kiffin, and last but certainly not least, Cliff Kingsbury of the Arizona Cardinals. Now, one name that was thrown out there, and this was debunked. This was part of the whole stuff that was going on because I texted Collin about this, that they had hired Brett Venerables, and he was coming to Oklahoma, and he was bringing DJ Ukulele with him. And that turned out that they debunked that. He's not taking that job. But I texted both of y'all that, like,
yeah.
And we don't know what Alex Grinch's status is. I heard that he actually went with Lincoln as well. Now that I got to look a little further into, But it's a hot mess right now. I mean, there are banners up on campus that say traitor.
Traitor.
So,
Man,
I mean,
1 minute you're a goat, the next minute you are the goat. So,
very true. It's a very fickle thing.
Right. So let me ask you, gentlemen, this question: what do you think that this does for the psyche of the team as a whole, especially for Caleb Williams? Because I'm sure that Caleb had a good long sit down talk with Coach after Red River. We're gonna make you the guy. We're gonna have you take the first team reps. You're my guy moving forward. We're gonna work with Caleb. We're gonna work with Spencer. He might be able to come back next year and compete, but you're my guy going forward. What do you think that this does for the psyche of the team as a whole?
Well, I mean, it goes back like with the Coach O situation. I mean, how do you expect to achieve a cohesiveness as a team when you have like the coach comes in and then he leaves, and especially with Lincoln's situation where he bold-faced lied like twice. You know what I'm saying? And so how do you expect to have a cohesiveness with a team like that when they can't trust their own coach? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, even Florida at one point seemed like they had tapped out. You know what I mean? Because of what happened with Dan Mullen had lost his team before they even fired. Matter of fact, they started playing better after he got fired. So what does that say?
Well, it reminds me a lot of the Florida situation when Urban Meyer was coaching, when Timo was playing. Kind of, sort of, not really, but I mean, what you were talking about, they had it kind of set up at Oklahoma where they were going to get the recruiting class, like you were talking about. But do you think Lincoln kind of thought that maybe he didn't have the team to compete with the SEC when it was time to join the SEC? Do you think he just he ran for the woods, basically, so to speak, just to get out of Dodge?
Well, to be completely honest,
that's huge speculation, but I mean,
to be completely honest, he might have backed himself into a corner. He was given, like I said, he was given a pristine program that already had a history of winning at the very absolute least, that was winning conference championships every year. Right. Now, he'd been there. This was his 5th season, and this was the first year in 5 seasons that he didn't win the conference championship. But even still, he got him in position to be able to win that game to get to that championship.
Yeah. And we were talking about that, because me and you were talking about that, about what a Oklahoma State loss would do. With all this chatter going on about him staying or leaving. And we don't know what happens. I mean,
yeah, but everybody thought he was going to LSU. That was the thing. He pulled the 52 faker.
Yeah.
And wait a minute.
Kind of knew he was leaving, but didn't know where he was going. Right.
Well, how about poor LSU and all of this? Poor LSU is like the kid that can't get a date for the prom, man. Jimbo, especially. Okay, Lincoln Riley said no. Lane Kiffin publicly came out and said no. And then Jimbo Fisher came out and said, not no, but hell no. I'd have to be the dumbest human being on the face of the planet. Like, how does LSU feel?
No, hell no.
Right. So, I mean, there's a lot there. There are some winners and there are some losers in this. I think the winners are, the only winner in this case is Lincoln Riley's pocketbook. But the caveat to that is, he was at a program that was handed to him. He was groomed to be the heir apparent.
Yeah.
He had a much longer rope at Oklahoma than he's going to have at USC. I mean, even Pete Carroll had him winning championships, and as soon as somebody threw a little dirt on his name, they were getting ready to run him out of town on the rail. It's like, you know what? I had forgot I got a job waiting for me in Seattle. I think I'm gonna go so I can get my coffee at Starbucks because it's fresher in Seattle. If you get it in Seattle, they run you out of town on the rail. I mean, Clay Helton had only been there one season.
They run you out very quick.
And if Lincoln Riley gets out there and doesn't deliver the goods on what he has been promising, that's a wrap.
Yeah,
that's an absolute wrap.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I think it'll be interesting. I think it'll be interesting to see because, USC. Oklahoma and USC definitely go back ways with the talent and the prestige, the tradition.
Oh snap! Wait a minute, my bad. I covered you quick.
No,
Hold on. Your whole face covered. Go ahead.
But no, it'll be interesting. I think the real kind of question is how much emphasis and how much credit we give these coaches. I mean, back to Nathan's point with them kind of selling the players. I mean, you get these guys in here and you win these games, and all of a sudden the coach is getting the notoriety, and then 2-3 years in he jumps off. I mean, I remember you talked about one of those names on the list is Luke Fickell, the coach of Cincinnati, and unfortunately he's probably going to go to another school because of the job he's done at Cincinnati. But that stinks because it's like you want these guys. You don't have a Bear Bryant anymore. You don't have, the Bobby Bowden that
the Vince Dooley's
in 5
and
years. Right. Me going there, there's a chance that my cousins or my sons can go there, their grandsons. Like, it's a tradition, like that type of stuff. You know what I mean? You don't have that because, unfortunately, the media and, analysts and people like us, they kind of, you put the dollar sign on, oh, this coach has been winning 3, 4, 5 years. You know what I mean? But if you have a Nick Saban who's dominating, then it's everybody needs to get to that level. So then it's just high turnover. And it's a shame, man, because these kids are the ones who suffer from this. So
and it doesn't help matters much that there's a very, very pervasive attitude of win right now at all costs. Yeah. Vince Dooley did not win a national championship until 1980, and at that point he'd been the coach for how long, Collin? About close to 15 years or something like that.
Yeah, at least that. It's been a while. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he'd been there for 50. Yeah, I mean, he'd had a few winning seasons, but he wasn't the most successful coach on the face of the planet. And then he won a national championship, and then all of a sudden it clicked, and the boys started playing, and he was able to.
There's definitely. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
But no, I was just saying, we're going and adding on to Sean's point, is like there's no loyalty for the coaches anymore, and it really, I think in the long run, it takes a toll on the players. Like you keep asking how the players feel when a coach he's there for a couple of years, and that's probably in their mind too. It's like, oh, they had a head coach, and they finally, maybe not like the guy at the start, but then they start to get a relationship, and everything starts gelling together, and the next thing you know, he's gone.
Right.
Everything that y'all built. And you seem to be getting better, being better as a team, as a whole, even, and teammates and that kind of stuff. And there goes the coach, gets off more money or whatever the situation may be. But there's no loyalty at all. I mean, like it's I'm with Sean. It's insane. It's crazy.
It makes it hard for these kids to trust anything. And
it goes along with the transfer portal. The transfer portal too. I mean, that makes a lot more players go into the transfer portal.
Right.
Yeah, and they have that availability now. Man, I'm gonna have to backtrack with some of the comments because Nathan is hitting on all cylinders in the comments.
Yeah,
he was saying, some of the problems are you don't know the next coach or their philosophy. He's also saying that Caleb should consider transferring to Jackson State.
Saw that.
Yeah. That's a pot.
Come on now. Come on.
Hey. Yeah. Well, he's a DC kid though. Playing for Coach Prime. I think Coach Prime might be able to do something with him. But doesn't Deion have a son that plays quarterback at Jackson State right now?
I believe so.
He's got a son that's either quarterback or wide receiver.
I know he got a son that plays quarterback. And I believe he plays at Jackson State. Yeah.
He's got a kid that's there at Jackson State. I can't remember what position he's playing. Nathan also says that they're also starting to see the players do it in the NFL as well, where they get once their rookie contract runs out, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm out. And it might be a coaching issue, or it might be a front office. Now, front office is nothing you can do about that. But then finally, Nathan says that somebody has to call this out about these college coaches. But at the end of the day, money talks, and that is the absolute truth.
Yep.
But that's kind of sad, though. I would rather stay at a team. Okay, I'll give you an example. Deion Sanders, since you brought that up, Deion Sanders makes. I don't know how 100% accurate the numbers are for salaries online, but according to all the reports I've found, Deion Sanders makes about $300,000 a year as a coach at Jackson State. Now, to an NFL Hall of Famer who already makes that much and probably more on his pension check, that $300,000 would be a slap in the face. Like if I was making $7-8 million a year when I retired, and then I get a job. I interview for a job and you offer me $300,000. It's a slap in the face. But Deion has decided I don't need that money. I want to build this program. That's why I laugh at people when they say, "Oh, Deion's going to Florida State, or Deion's doing so and so." To be completely honest, if he does it, I will be floored because of he is, by what he has shown us, 100% dedicated to rebuilding HBCUs and bringing them back to prominence. Because the league comes and plucks these guys like it's nothing. You know what I'm saying? What's the guy's name for the Colts that's going to be inducted into their Ring of Honor? And he played at Alabama A&M. Can't think of his name. I just saw the story today. But yeah, I mean, you get these guys that are coming from HBCUs and going into the league and not only playing, but playing well and becoming superstars and becoming Hall of Famers. And Deion's trying to rebuild that. So I would rather be a coach making that kind of money at a Grambling, or at a Cincinnati or at a UCF and stay there, make that money and build that dynasty, than to build my resume for 2 or 3 years, jump ship, and go somewhere and get thoroughly embarrassed. We're not talking about you at all, Scott Frost. Not one bit.
Yo, the guy's Robert Mathis.
Thank you. But you see that all the time. Like all of these group of 5 schools, those jobs are like these guys are looking at them as like stepping stone jobs to the big leagues. They almost look at it as like the minor leagues for P5 coaching.
Right.
And but sincerely, honestly, and then Lincoln Riley gave the press conference, and the first thing he came out is he said, "I'm really honored to be here, and I'm not a guy to make false promises."
Choose your words a little differently, bro.
Wait a minute. You see how I leaned back and tilted my head to the side? Like I'm not one to make false promises, because he was saying all year, "I'm your coach. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna do this." I don't know how true this is, but people are saying that the coach that he had been looking actively seeking a place to go coach since before the beginning of the season. And this is just the culmination of where a slot happened to come available.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, yep. Norman is and depending on who you talk to around here right now, they're either like, well, you know what, things happen. That's the nature of the beast, or I mean, there's no middle ground. It's either it's either good luck, coach, or
go let the book hit you with a good Lord's picture.
I was gonna take it biblical and say, "Go ye forth and multiply." So yeah, that's our wrap up this week on what's going on with Oklahoma. I'm sure there will be more before Friday, and boy, if it does, I can't wait to talk about it. Yeah, man, God. We've done almost 30 minutes on Oklahoma. I told you it was gonna be a lot to Sean. You said it was gonna be a lot to talk about. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you are just joining this stream right now, thank you so much for joining this week's edition of This Week in SEC Football, brought to you by our good friends at DJG Enterprises and GreekGans.com. DJG Enterprises, they make beautiful custom engraved cups. Tumblers, I should say, that they're not just cups, they're tumblers. Forgive my faux pas. And custom made Afghans, they can make those for you in any custom school color schemes and anything you want on them. Of course, they can't do the logos because they're copywritten, but holler at our guys at www.greekgans.com today. Thank you so much. Oh man. Wow, that was a mouthful. And now it's been a long season. It has been a crazy season, but now the conference championships is set. What are we thinking? Sean, I'm gonna come to you. What are we thinking?
I mean, there's a lot of
I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna go with you with the ACC. ACC right now, as we know, more than likely there would have to be a whole bunch of chaos to happen for the ACC to even be considered for a CFP bid, because there's all their teams have at least 2 losses. But Wake Forest and Pitt, what are we thinking?
I'm honestly, this is going to be a QB duel. You got Pickett on one side, who's been in the Heisman running, but obviously overshadowed by the Titans at the top. But then on the other side, you have Sam Hartman, who has been shooting the lights out. Wake Forest went, I think it was like 8-0 before they finally got beat. And look, like these two teams have been under the radar, because these are basketball schools. These two teams have definitely been under the radar, but having a great year. In my opinion, and in this game, I think it's going to be Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh has a great defense. They got the old coach from old defensive coordinator from Michigan State, and he's a monster. He really brought some kind of grit back to Pittsburgh, back to those late 70s teams with Tony Dorsett and Dan Marino when he was there, and some of those great linemen that were there. He's really bringing it back. Wake Forest, look, they've shocked me from time to time. I mean, we saw what happened in that game. We played them, we shocked them, but they can put up some points and they can just find a way to win. But I think Pittsburgh is just Pickett. I think that guy he's something that we can lean on. And I think, there's not very many people that I'm interested to see as they transition to the pros, but he is definitely one of them. He's got a lot of attention this year. So I got Pittsburgh 31-24.
Ooh, you got it close.
Oh yeah,
that's a close one. Collin, what's
points? Yeah,
Collin, you got the Wake Forest. You got Pitt by 3 is the line there.
Pitt by 3. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? I didn't see enough of Pitt this season. I was too busy following Clemson's steady descent until they kind of disappeared, and then was completely shocked coming into the weekend to find out they still had a chance to get in to the conference championship with certain circumstances, and they did what they were supposed to do. They won, and so did North Carolina State, but Wake Forest had to lose, and that didn't happen. So,
you're something that may surprise you guys. I don't know. What'd you say, Sean? What'd you say? 31-28. Was it 31-28? You said
24. 31-24.
31-24. All right, got over under on that 72.5. So they're expecting a shootout.
I can see it. I can see it on there.
Yeah.
I can see it, man. Because Hartman put up some points.
Do neither of those teams play any defense?
So Pittsburgh has played actually a lot of defense this year. They've actually played good. The issue with Pittsburgh is Pickett's got a lot of attention, so they've tried to kind of go play a little bit more hero ball. When you have the Heisman watchers, you got to do stuff that actually wows them. And so, he's turned the ball over from time to time, and Pitt, look, they're a good team, but they're not a great team. They're having a good year. Yeah. There's a good team having a great year as opposed to a great team, So Pittsburgh, I think they could do it. Wake Forest, I'm much more skeptical about their defense, to be quite honest with you. Wake Forest they've been having the kind of type of Cinderella season. I mean, name one team that you've ever heard from Wake Forest has done good in football over the years. I mean, we got to really dive into.
I thought you were going to say overall. I was going to say there was a dude named Tim Duncan that used to play basketball there.
Oh no, but basketball, yeah. Well, I know they on the court, right? That's what I'm saying. But they're great in the ACC. I mean, my Tar Heels fear them definitely. They play good ball, but in football, it's kind of like, Wake Forest is playing. They would be the equivalent of the Missouris, of the not Vanderbilt. I won't go that far, but the Missouris. You know what Kentucky normally is like. Okay, maybe they'll have a shootout, but they'll find a way to lose normally. So I'm eager to see what happens in this game. This is one of the ones I'm looking forward to for sure.
Okay, that's what's good. I just based on what knowledge I have, limited knowledge of Pitt and what I've seen of Wake Forest, I'm gonna give it to Wake Forest and a squeaker. I'm gonna call it. It's gonna be I think it's gonna be a walk-off field goal in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I can see that.
Good.
That's what I'm going with that one. So we're gonna take it over to the Pac-12. The Pac-12 will be featuring Oregon versus some team from Utah. What are they called again?
Did you say Utes?
Yeah, 2 Utes.
What is a Ute?
Yeah, the Utah Utes.
You say Ute?
What's a Ute?
Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor. 2 youths. I wonder how many times they had to film that. I don't know how they did that with a straight face. Because I've seen that movie at least 20 times, and I crack up every time I see that scene. Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Go ahead.
I was saying my dad's from Brooklyn, so we got family all throughout New York, and it's funny to hear certain words that they'll say, and I've heard them say these you, and it's just what? It's like what? But if you hear it in the right context, it's like okay, I get it. But if you just hear it out like that, like no, I can't do. I've been in New York a while. They call me. They say you a little lighter for us, brother. You in Herndon.
Wait a minute. I got a friend back in Georgia that calls it Herndon. He said Herndon.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
You still living in Herndon, Virginia?
When I moved up here, my pop saw Dulles and Dulles Airport. He called it Dues.
What?
You live up near Dues?
About that dude right there.
The Dues Airport. We flying in the Dues Airport. You come pick us.
Say what? You what? Firing pistols at dawn? What are you talking about, Pop? While we laughing about my cousin Vinny, Collin, tell me after meeting our boy Lou G and his wife together, that is not. We got a partner from Queens. Yeah. That if he is not Vinny and Mona Lisa DeVito to get the two of them together, seriously, the whole as soon as I met. I didn't put it together until I met her and the two of them talking. And then the first time I saw my cousin Vinny after that, and he's like, what are you doing with the leather, with the skirt, the short skirt and the jacket? Because you're going to stand out here. And she's like, oh, yeah, because you blend. That's them all day.
I love it.
That is them all day. And it never ceases to be fun. Like, I just watched the two of them talk. I just saw them last year. And the two of them together is just like, it's just like watching a tennis match. Oh man. But Oregon and Utah, that's what we were talking about. I'm sorry. We had a film moment. Welcome to This Week in SEC Football 1980s movie reviews. So Oregon and Utah, Collin, coming your way. Let you hit it first.
I don't know. Let's see. So we got I don't know. They got Utah. See, Utah's on a run now, so I'm thinking that Utah may still give Oregon a bit of some trouble. They are picked by 3. That over under is 59.5. I mean, I just like the way Utah's playing right now. I mean, in Oregon, they had a couple slip ups, and I'm going with Utah. Actually, I'm going to go with Utah on that one. Let me give a score on that one. I don't know. It's going to be high, I think.
Oh yeah.
21-35. Utah.
Yeah, I like that.
All right. I'll jump in next on this one. I don't think this was going to be close. I think Utah is definitely going to come back and lay some more lumber. I will definitely say this. I know Oregon's punter is going to do everything he can to not kick that ball to that punt returner ever again. He's either going to try and put it out of bounds or just kick a touchback. Because that was just if they weren't already on life support with a 21-0 score, the punt return I think was a dagger. And I don't think they went in the locker room. I don't think they were able to recover from that coming back out. Yeah. So I would say, what's the over under? What'd you say?
59.5.
59.5. I'm gonna give 40 of those to Utah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think it's another blowout. I think Oregon will at least come out and try and slap them in the mouth a little harder to start. But
did they play Oregon? Did they play Oregon before?
Yeah.
They just played them. I thought that was
ago. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, they played them 2 weeks ago, and they beat the living hell out of them. So I think
they know how to play them.
Yeah. So Utah has another week of game film. And I'm pretty sure Oregon didn't try to give too much away, but it's 14 weeks into the season. I doubt very seriously the OCs and the head coach are trying to draw up any new plays. They're just going to have to try and execute them a lot better. Anyway, I'm coming to you, Sean. What you got?
In the words of the great Lee Corso, not so fast. Listen, I absolutely love Utah, man. I feel for them and their story. For those of you that do not know, over the summer they had an incident over on the team where one of the players they had a shooting. One of the players was shot and died. And then around my birthday in September, there was another student that had gone to one of the running backs had gone to a party and actually got shot. So they have really been playing just some inspired ball. They've been playing through the roof. I think that played a lot into that game against Oregon a week ago. Look, for all intents and purposes, I want Utah to win. I think their story is great, and teams like this is just something you want to hear about going into the bowls and things like that. But unfortunately, I think Oregon, it feels very disrespected. Nobody respected them even after they beat Ohio State earlier in the year. The pollsters didn't respect them by putting Ohio State above them. You know what I mean? Yeah. They have a couple losses to non Stanford, unranked team and things like this. So I think Oregon is really kind of in one of these situations where like they feel they should be going into this weekend, going to try to be in the top 4. And obviously they did stuff which prohibited that, but I think they're going to come into this game and I think they're going to play, and I think it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be like a 21-17 type game. And I think it's going to be just because when you play 2 weeks in a row, you have the footage, you have the freshness, you know what they're going to do. So I think early it's going to be a dueling battle, a punting battle, where it's kind of like we know what you're going to do. It's going to be back and forth, kind of like that. Yeah. I just think Oregon they feel very disrespected, and they brought it upon themselves. I mean, you lose two losses is in the grand major, college football. You're not gonna be considered one of the elite teams. So, but I think they definitely got something to prove.
Yeah, Sean, you bring up a good point though. It's hard to beat 2 teams in a row like that. I mean, it could very well be, Oregon pulling it out.
Yeah. I don't know. I beg to differ. I think the real test, actually, I know that, and we're coming around their way in just a bit. I think the true litmus test would have been if Oklahoma had beat Oklahoma State and then would have had to turn around and play them the very next Saturday. I think that would have been an absolute litmus test there. But we're not going to get to see that because we know how that went, and we've talked enough about that already. So there we have it. I think. So moving on to we're going to hit the old SEC last. I think. Let's talk. Where's Cincy? Let's talk Cincy Houston. I'm gonna throw it back your way, Sean. What you got?
I'm gonna be very honest with you. I mean, and since the very first episode, Anthony, you can vouch for me. I've mentioned the University of Cincinnati since the very first episode.
I'm gonna give you that.
And I'm telling you, I have not even when they went up against Notre Dame was I scared. But I'm very scared about this one. Houston is a good team. Their coach used to be the coach of West Virginia. And he had a good team going with Will Greer a couple years back. So they're 11-1. Have any of us heard or said anything? And how much I watch college, and I have not heard or said anything about Houston all year.
And they're 24.
Right.
I mean,
right. So
they just quiet assassins.
Right. So, and look, this is obviously going to be the test for Cincinnati, and it's a win, and maybe you're in. Like, let's be very honest. Like, we want to say they're in, yes, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like, oh, do we really have that much faith in this team that has not really played any stiff competition all year long? That's what it's going to come down to. They have to win. They have to win big. And then you did everything you needed to do. You went undefeated. You won your conference championship. You are here at the top. Certain teams have fallen. This is your shot.
Yeah.
Hey, this is where we'll ask the question: can they play on the level of potentially Georgia, potentially Michigan, Ohio State, whoever is going to be in there? And that's what we're going to see. But they have to win this game first. They have to win this game first. That's key.
100%. But just to piggyback on that, 100%, they got to win. They can't lose. They have to win, and they have to win big. To answer your question as to whether or not they can hang, they did play against us last year, and they gave us the run. I think it was a
bowl game. They played in a bowl game.
3-point margin of victory, and this was
24-21.
We had some issues during the middle of the season, but then we started surging on the back end. We got the bowl game, and every punch we threw, they threw one back. I mean, it literally. I think it came down to a field goal, and wasn't our boy gone by then? Wasn't Specs already in the league by then?
I think it was. We had some people opt out of the game too, but I mean that. I don't know if that made any difference, but I mean I don't think there were any high profile people that opted out. Maybe one or two, but yeah, they gave us a hard time. They definitely did.
Yeah.
And they're returning their guys. They're returning those guys, and that's why I've given them so much love and respect. Because look, when you return guys for 2, potentially 3 years, I mean, you might, your talent level might go up to a certain play, but when you know the guy next to you and you've been with him and you've got that kind of yeah, that's a different ball game, and that's the way they've been playing this year. Ritter, he's their leader, so. Hey, I can't wait to see it. I want to see them make it in there and shock the world, but we will definitely see.
Yeah, so do I. I would rather. I mean, they've had a fantastic season, and it'd be an awesome way to cap it off. Just win against Houston and make it in there. I mean, I don't know. The committee they'll be hard pressed to find a reason not to let them in. You know, if they but they can do what they want to do. We just be honest.
Yeah, well, you know, the committee is looking for a reason to put them out anyway, right?
Mm-hmm. If Bama does what Bama do.
Oh wait, that's the wrong game.
Bama's gonna be number
that's
4
the wrong
spot
game.
Anyway. If they lose, if Bama has 2 losses, they're gonna be that 4th spot. Mark my word.
Yeah, so Cincinnati absolutely positively has to win, and I think not only do they have to win, they're gonna have to. I mean, they might have to write Houston a little apology note beforehand and go, listen. We don't be like old boy in be like old boy in Harlem Night. Be like old boy in Harlem Nights. Don't take this ass whooping personal. You know what I mean?
right. Nothing to do with you.
It's got nothing to do with you. We got business we got to handle. Because the committee has been looking for a reason to not include them. And I mean, even I think it took, was it last week or the week before for them to crack the top 5?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, week after week, win after win. Sean, you made me a believer, bro. Because remember, you and I talked.
Yeah.
And I called you LL Cool J.
Hey, look, if I remember correctly, you laughed me off the show.
Nah, I didn't laugh you out of the show, but you definitely brought out old Unc Shay Shay. Uncle Shay Shay said I think the quote was, quote, you might as well change your name to James Todd Smith, because that's LL Cool J's real name, and I'm gonna be raining L's on you for the remainder of the season. End quote. I think that was what I said. But you made me a believer, and I completely brain cramped on that Cincinnati that we played Cincinnati last year in the bowl game. So much respect to Cincinnati. Cincinnati versus Houston. I think that one's gonna be I think they need to win big, but I think it's going to be another squeaker. I don't think it's going to be a touchdown between them. I think you could
just to let you know, it's 10.5. Since he's picked by 10.5, over under 53.5.
Yeah, I think it's going to be whisper close, like one of those scenes from Fast and the Furious where the 2 cars pass by and the side mirrors just barely touch each other.
Yeah, it surprised me that Houston is the 24th spot with 11-1 record. You know, I get the strength of schedule, I get it, but you're right. I mean, we haven't heard anything about them at all. Like, I mean, I don't remember hearing anything about Houston.
All right.
Zero. Well, I hate to say it. I think it's just because the team is in Houston, they're associated with the Texans, and we know how the Texans are doing. Yeah, it could be worse. They could be the Falcons. But anyway, I digress.
I was going to say, the dirty birds are extra dirty. They've been extra dirty for a long time.
I gotta, you know what? We just gonna shut that off right there.
Hey, we've been better off getting that trifecta with the Hawks instead of the Falcons. It's gonna be a while for the Falcons. I mean, we might get a championship from the Hawks before we get the Falcons.
You being like the pastor said, you being messy, Deacon. But we go pray and press on. Moving on to, we talked about the Pac-12 already. Moving on to the Big 12, we might as well go ahead and touch on them. That is Oklahoma State and Baylor. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'll go first. I believe this game could go either freaking way.
Yeah.
I think that Oklahoma State has shown. Although I will say this, I'll give you my pick in a minute. I think this game could go either way. I have been saying all year, Sean. What are the three teams?
Baylor, Iowa State, Kansas State.
Yep, that could be that could sneak up on you. And Baylor knocked enough people in the teeth this year. Oklahoma being that one, and that was the difference maker. Because if they had beaten Baylor, they would have. And if Oklahoma had beaten Baylor and lost to Oklahoma State, I don't know how that would have played out. I forgot who Oklahoma State lost to. At any rate, Oklahoma State is on a mission this year. They have a tendency to make. They just have this awareness mistakes that they make out of nowhere that cost them games the last couple of years. Like a dumb penalty when you got a team on the ropes that will give up a bunch of yards in a situation where they can't afford to give up a bunch of yards, or missed assignments on offense, or penalties on offense and things like that. But Mike Gundy has tightened those boys up. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I saw Mike Gundy on the sideline Saturday night. He looked like he's been taking care of himself too. Like he's been kind of
bulking up.
Yeah. So I guess maybe he's been working out with the boys. That could be some inspiration. And man, I'm not gonna lie to you. The 3 Oklahoma State fans that I know in real life here in Oklahoma City are excited as hell. They are excited as hell.
Should be.
So
yeah, absolutely.
I think Oklahoma State can win it, but I think it could go. I think honestly it could go either way. This is another one I think is going to be a high scoring event, and I'm going to give the edge to the Pokes just because they're riding on that adrenaline of this is the first time they've beaten Oklahoma in Bedlam in I want to say 10, 11 years.
Wow, that long.
Yeah. So I'm giving the edge to Oklahoma State in this one. So we're gonna come to you, Collin. What you got?
Yeah, I kind of tend to agree with you. I do have kind of an iffy feeling. I mean, after you have that kind of a win, that huge win, I mean, you're still riding on adrenaline. I mean, but how much did it take out of you? And we know how Baylor plays. Baylor's no slouch. So I mean, I think it's going to be a close game. What it says here is Oak State is favored by 5.5. So, I mean, I think it may be that close. I mean, I'm not sure if Oak State will cover. I mean, it may come down to the field goal in my opinion. But I think Oak State's going to come out.
It may. Well, you mentioned them being tired, but listen, they were playing at home. So it's not like they had to get on a bus or a plane to go anywhere to get back home. Yeah. I mean, they basically
I'm not saying like, the travel time. I'm just saying like physically. I mean, we watched the game, right? I mean, they beat Oklahoma down.
Yeah.
It was a physical game from what I saw. So.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'll give you that, but I think travel time also plays into that recovery time. You can't get comfortable and rest. I don't care how luxurious those buses are. You can't get comfortable and rest on a bus on your way home. You know what I mean?
No,
They might have gone right in the locker room and got with some of the trainers right after the game. So they started recouping immediately after. So we'll see. Anyway, Sean, we're coming your way, man.
Look, man, I talked to you about it in one of the posts earlier this year. I am a huge Oklahoma State fan. I always have been. Go Cowboys! Oklahoma State. Yeah, I've been watching them as they were under the radar, undefeated for 6, 7, 8 weeks. Look, the Oklahoma State is the number 3 ranked total defense in the country. You know what I mean? Only 2 teams in front of them is Georgia, who is obviously head and shoulders above, but then also Wisconsin, who is actually doing great on defense. Oklahoma State, that's the difference this year than in past years. They can actually stop somebody. You know what I mean? And in this game, because we saw they were down by a considerable margin at a certain point, and then the defense helped them to get back into this game. I think Oklahoma State's going to at the end of the day is going to beat Baylor. I know the weapons that Baylor have, but you have Ebner, if he doesn't get going, and Mims, you talked about him, Anthony. If he doesn't get going, I honestly think Oklahoma State, man, I love them. I love the Cowboys, and especially because the quarterback, Gundy, was the quarterback when Barry Sanders was there.
Oh, yeah.
Barry's my guy. You know what I mean? One of the only college jerseys I got. I absolutely love them. So yeah, man, I love them, man. I watched a lot of their games this year, and I'm so glad they finally got over the hump that is Bedlam. You know what I mean? I'm so glad they finally got over.
It
that
is
hump,
good to see games like that. It is
Oh
good to see
man,
games
I just thought about something. I gotta go look Pastor Pope in the face next Monday. I work with Eric Pope, who played on the '85 national championship team.
Nice.
And he works in our building, and he stopped by every day and he go, man, look, and boys gonna get it done. And I said, you think this is gonna be the year, Pastor? And he said, yeah, I think they get it done this year. He always got a little sermon for me about something. He said, I'm not gonna get into his sermons or anything like that. But I just man, I gotta look him, and because he works in IT, and he's an IT manager, and the lady in the office next to him is a cybersecurity manager, and she's an Ohio State fan, and both their teams got eliminated this weekend. I better hope don't nothing go wrong with my computer till about the middle of basketball season.
Mm-hmm.
especially if we win the national championship. Wasn't my fault we didn't play y'all this year. Why y'all looking at me? So, man. So, yeah, I'm thinking that is going to be a tight one, but I think Oklahoma State pulls that one out. So we're kind of in agreement on that one. Are we touching and agreeing? There it is. Okay.
All three.
All right. So we did the Pac-12. We did the Big 12. We talked about Cincinnati and Houston. We've talked about the ACC. We have not talked about the Big 10.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about the Big 10. Bruh. Harbaugh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even a Harbaugh fan. I'm just happy for the dude because I know what it's like to lose to somebody every year. Like you could beat everybody else and not beat this one team and just have that same, you know what I'm saying? And they'd be like, you shut up, I beat y'all up, and you still ain't beat him yet. And everybody go, oh, remember that on the playground? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm happy for Harbaugh. Like he looked like he wanted to cry a little bit. I'm not even sure. Like, I just want to thank everybody for this opportunity. I just to be the best Mr. America I could possibly be. Thank you so much. You like me.
Thank you for keeping me.
Right. Thank you for being my friend. But dude, I thought Michigan was going to. I'm sorry to any of my Ohio State friends that are watching this right now. I thought OSU was going to lose the game. I didn't realize they were going to lose the game. I didn't realize Michigan was going to beat them like they beat them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like
first quarter, it surprised the hell out of me. That first quarter, they came out swinging. I was like, whoa.
Just the fact that they scored first and convincingly. Mm-hmm. And then once they realized there was no answer for Hassan Haskins, was 168 yards and five touchdowns. He tied the school record.
Yep.
It's ridiculous. They was like,
they played. I mean, they played the ideal game for Michigan. All right, everybody knows what happened the game before against Michigan State, where they put up 49 in the first half, and then didn't even have to show up in the second. You know what I mean? But they had a clean day. There was a clear day. Everything was fine. No wind in the air, so they could throw it all day. In Michigan on Saturday, it was snowing.
Right.
It was rough.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. That weather was, and that is the type of game that a Michigan can succeed. You play good defense. You run the ball. There you go. You know what I mean?
Well, that was to your point. Go ahead, Sean.
I was saying, obviously, you have to get a couple breaks and things of that nature, but those are the ideal conditions in this type of game, and he got everything he needed in this one. I mean, he got Lady Luck.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. And just looking at the stats, I mean, it doesn't actually do the game justice. I mean, but it does actually, compliment what you just said, Sean, because I mean Haskins had 169 yards and 5 touchdowns, and then you had C.J. Stroud, he had almost 400 yards passing, but he had 2 touchdowns
in a loss.
In a loss. Yeah, I mean, he still had his Heisman numbers, but I mean, in a loss. But you were talking about running on the ground. Absolutely, they had Haskins. I mean, he just written the shreds.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, look, they did what, the number one thing we said coming into that game was, how do you stop these top tier Heisman quarterbacks, the Bryant Youngs, the Bryce Youngs, CJ Strouds. You have to keep them off the field. And the best way to do that is to run the rock and get third downs and get touchdowns in the red zone. Those are huge. Don't trade touchdowns for field goals. And they were doing that.
And get to them in the backfield, and I think the defense was actually doing pretty well, right?
That was key. That's what Michigan State could not do the week before, was get to CJ Stroud. And that defensive line, number 55, I think Ojobi, and then Aiden Hutchinson.
They kept that.
He was sacked.
They kept him on his back.
How many times was he sacked? He had to be sacked a lot of times. That's why I'm on the ground a lot.
I didn't listen. I didn't even track how many times he got sacked. But he every time I turned around,
he was on that,
or he was being flushed, or he was having to get rid of it early to keep from losing the yardage. I mean, they really and it's been a long time since I've seen a team run the ball that efficiently in a game like that. I mean, we see Tennessee do it all the time when Derrick Henry's healthy. But in college, in a college game where it's win or be done for the season, it's been a long time since maybe Herschel. I mean, I've seen some other guys do it, but like to that level, it was like they would just line up and be like, "Hey, here's what we gonna do. We dare you to stop us."
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But it's funny. The funny thing is, and the almost ironic thing, they took the blueprint that Michigan used against them, run the ball, play good defense, third downs, convert in the red zone, and they used that against Ohio State. So it's funny they have the little brother, big brother thing. But I mean, the first thing I'm going to say this: these Michigan Ohio State, this rivalry is crazy. I was sitting there talking to one of my friends that's Michigan person, and she's sitting here just saying like hi in the conversation. I'm like, what are you talking about? And she says, "Oh, I don't recognize the O's. It's Michigan State. It's Michigan versus Ohio week, so we don't say O."
All right.
This is saying hi. I'm like, what are you talking? And they X out the O's. It is so crazy, but I'm so glad for her. It was so crazy. I kind of call her after the game, and she wasn't answering. And she was just I am crying. She's like, I've been crying for 20 minutes. Oh my God.
Ohio went down in flames.
We're in the green.
We're all in agreement. We're all in agreement on that.
To your point, Collin, they had 4 sacks. They had 4 sacks. They rushed the quarterback. They curried him like 4 or 5 times. And that defense made a difference. Yeah, it made CJ Stroud uncomfortable. And hey, we're talking about blueprints to beat teams. You pop them in the mouth.
That's all I said about Alabama. Like it don't matter if it's Tua, don't matter if it's hurt, don't matter who in the backfield. You make them, hurry up and make some bad decisions. I mean, you got to win the ball game. You just got to get to the backfield.
Oh yeah, and that.
I mean, that's anything
again.
Really,
shut down their offense. Shut down their offense, and run your offense over their face and around and up their backside and over their left ear until they can't.
What was the years? How long has it been since Michigan has beat Ohio State? What was the years?
It was 8 years. It was an 8-game winning streak. It was 5. Yeah, it was 5 with Harbaugh, and then 3 before that. 8 games. So 2013, I think it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that was the year. And it has been pretty ugly. It's been a while, right? It's been a while.
Hey, it's been a while.
Wow.
Been a minute.
That's one of your songs, isn't it, Collin?
Yeah, right.
That's one of your karaoke tunes. So what do we got?
But I always cheer against Ohio.
Wow. Yes. I tell you, it's different out here. It's different in the Midwest.
It just means more. So who we got? So I am definitely rolling with. I'm gonna roll with the hot hand. I like Iowa. I think Iowa's a tough team, but I think if Ohio State shows up like they showed up last week, it's not Ohio. If Michigan shows up like Michigan showed up last week, I saw Sean looking at me like, "Excuse me, Hunty."
No, he said something. I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
I think you're absolutely right. I think you're absolutely right.
If Michigan shows up like they did last week, I don't think Iowa's going to have an answer for them.
Mhm.
Nah.
And I think it's going to be. I can't say it'll be a blowout, but I give it double digits. I give it a minimum of 10 points that they win by. Michigan by at least 10.
I think I can agree with that. I think I can agree with that.
I agree with that as well. That, just so you know, it's 10.5 is spread. So
Yeah.
So
oh wow! So almost right on the nose. Well, and that leads us to the one that we all came here for, or at least the one that I come here for, and that is the SEC championship in the Mercedes-Benz Dome in hot Atlanta. It is going to be another rematch of the two juggernauts of the East, and Alabama and Georgia. And Sean, I'll let you go ahead and go first, sir.
I mean, I'm gonna go with the house. Obviously, definitely go to Georgia. I mean, we all saw what happened the other night. I mean, when it takes you 58, 59 minutes in a game to get your first touchdown, you know, and with good.
What were you gonna say? Because you might be getting ready to say what I was thinking. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say with the gimpy backup quarterback. I mean, I can't look. I've been an Alabama apologist all year. You know, they're still Alabama. I can't do that. I watched that entire game. All intents and purposes, Auburn, your heart was ripped out. I mean, it was the kick six in reverse because you should have won that game, Auburn. Alabama. I mean, the only thing I can say is that, look, you know the rivalry. You know what it is going with the two teams. It's kind of, to me, similar to the Michigan State vibe, where it's like Michigan's always been the big brother to the Michigan State. And, you know, but Michigan State, when they get their victories, like, oh, we get you this time. And you guys had that. But it's always like in those SEC groups, all the Alabama people are like, oh, okay, have your fun now. Wait till we show up. You know what I mean? But then after this last game, it's like
they were still waiting for Alabama to show up in the fourth quarter. Like,
well, right?
Are they here?
Right. And that's
I knew this fool was gonna be late. I told Miss Terry to tell Nick to leave at 3:45, and then he would get there. He'd get around the I-85 because of the construction, and he would get there on time. And they was gonna be late. I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
I got Georgia. I got Georgia getting the W. I think the defense is just too tough, and I think you guys can use the very blueprint that Michigan State used, that Michigan used. Defense, run the ball, get Bowers involved, get McConkey involved. You know, get high percentage passes for the mailman, and just get the job done. This is the game you've been waiting for. Okay, show up. Let's go. Now, you still got to show up. We all know what can happen. Texas A&M is prime example when they came in and beat Alabama. So you still got to show up and still got to play 4 quarters of football. But I got Georgia in this one. And I got Georgia 31. I got Georgia 31-17. I think that defense just does some things. I think Alabama maybe gets some here and there, maybe scores every quarter or something like that. But I think that defense and Georgia's there. This is it. The time is now.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna let you close it out, Collin. But I'm going to give my piece now. I think you don't always want to use how the team you're getting ready to play performed against them, but Auburn's defense held. Did you hear what I'm saying? Auburn's defense held Alabama scoreless for 3.85 quarters. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? They showed up, and Alabama came in, and they were going to run them over and smash, and they run them over, and then they play the music, Z-D-D-D, or whatever. There's something about a yellow hammer. I don't know why they won a yellow hammer. And then they showed up, and then when the coach said smash, they went, and Auburn just went, Are they here? Like seriously, bruh, they held them scoreless till the very last. There must be something about that. Kirby needs to do this. Kirby, if you're watching, please make sure you have somebody as a spy on the left corner of the end zone. There's something about that left corner of the end zone because that's where he threw that pass to tie the game, and that's where he threw the pass to win the game in the fourth overtime. It took 4 quarters for you to tie the game and 4 overtimes behind that to win.
Yeah,
I think as long as Kirby keeps these guys' heads together, because Collin, you remember 4 years ago they got that #1 ranking, and what happened the next week? Auburn came in and knocked them off their perch.
That's the kiss of death,
right? And I was very worried when Auburn came up with the when we came up with the #1 ranking. I said, my God, please just let these guys hold their heads tight. Right. But I think that we can make this happen. I do think this. I want to see more offensively. I'm not that I'm not satisfied, but I'm saying as we saw on Saturday, it does not matter if you hold Alabama to 0 points almost in the fourth quarter. If you don't have enough points to be ahead of them that they can't catch you, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna need to do something about that. It was so funny. I saw footage of the kids that left the game early at the point where all they had to do was get the first down. Kids were running out in the Toomer's corner and they had their toilet paper ready. And then they cut back to them afterwards, and they were just like, "Well,
what happened?"
Right? And the SEC shorts this week. Shout out to SEC shorts. They make some hilarious stuff. The SEC shorts this week was hilarious. If you get a chance, go check it out. So yeah, I just think I need a little bit more offense. Mailman probably had his highest productive day yardage wise, his highest output on Saturday. And now of course he did it against Tech, but. You know, and I was something else I was excited for, seeing Pickens out there. I hope they don't rush him out there. I hope they don't rush him out there. They let him run a couple routes and see how he felt. I could see him on the sideline talking to coach about how his leg felt. But I've got Georgia in this one. I've also got Georgia by double digits. I'm going to say if the defense performs the way I think it does, it's going to. I'm going to push a little closer to the back end of the 30s. I'm going to say more like 38, 39, maybe on the other end of 40 to 17. I'll give them that 17, but I think, maybe like 40.
Yeah. So, you want to know what I think, huh? I got a lot to say about this. But no, it's it is our time. At the same point, Sean, I'm with you on that. We got to learn to play 4 quarters of football. In the past, we want to play like 2 quarters. Like we played first half, balls out. We're just gunning for everything. We're up, especially against Bama. We got to learn to play 4 quarters of football. We have to keep the foot on the neck and keep it there. If something's working, don't deviate away from it. I mean, for God's sakes, don't go prevent. I hate prevent. I hate everything about prevent. Go man, especially against Bama. And you've seen what A&M's done. I would rush. 4, 5, 6, or sometimes if you can. But I wasn't going to be overzealous. But at the same point, you saw what happened against Auburn. You mentioned Anthony. You mentioned about the 3 quarters of football for Alabama. What they do, you can never count them out. They came right back. Bama does what Bama do. Like I said, they always
all
come
day.
In.
By the way, hold on, wait a minute. The perfect time to get a plug in. By the way, we got those T-shirts for sale at Zazzle.com/Zagnif Apparel. We did give away 2 of them last week. If you want to get, matter of fact, one of the guys that got a shirt,
his own catchphrase. I love it.
Wait. One of the guys that won the shirt, his daughter goes to Alabama, and he's going to try and get his shirt to her because she's going to the SEC championship.
Hey,
nice.
Have her take a picture. Like we want some pictures when I'm wearing it though.
Oh yeah. Now I don't know if he. Well, here's the thing. She's in Mobile or she's in Tuscaloosa. He had me ship it to North Carolina. Ashley, why didn't you just have me ship it to her in Alabama? Never. She might be watching the show. It might have been a surprise. I'm sorry, Pops, if you was trying to surprise your daughter. My bad.
But early.
But anyway, go ahead, Collin. Go ahead and finish what you're
Well,
gonna
no,
say,
I
bro.
mean I'm almost done. But at the same point, that's my biggest thing is like I've learned as well. Probably you have too, Anthony. As a Georgia fan, you don't want to get hyped up. I mean, I love the hype, love the fandom. I love how excited people are about the situation. But hey, you can't count the chickens. All those other sayings you want to talk about. But I don't feel comfortable till the zeros on the clock. But what I'm saying is, I think this time, I think this year is the year, and I think Kirby. I feel like Kirby has a formula that we will take him down this year. I mean, I hate to be absolute like that, but I do feel that way. And I think, that meme I sent you or that quote I sent you, Anthony, I don't think it's going to be a 3-pointer or 4-point victory. I think it's going to be a beatdown if we do beat them down.
Oh, no
It
doubt.
will not stop. It'll be a Georgia-Florida game. We're going to keep scoring and scoring and scoring until that clock stops.
I'm going to read this quote to you. I didn't have a chance to because he sent it right before the show to get it up so we can get it on the show. But the quote says, it's by Reese Davis from ESPN. He said, I don't know when. Wait a minute. Hold on. This is the time to get my Morgan Freeman on. I don't know when Georgia will beat Alabama, but I have this weird feeling that someday when they do, it's not going to be like some Tua-like play. It's going to be on a field goal. It's not going to be on a field goal. They are going to beat them like 92-6. They are going to take it all out of their frustrations in one fell swoop. And that's from Reese Davis and ESPN. And I totally butchered that. My one chance to nail the Morgan Freeman and these stupid glasses that I didn't clean before the show start, and I can't see as is. And it was at that time that Anthony realized he needed to get a new prescription. There we go. So
look, I do think that somebody that you do need to worry about is Jameson Williams. I mean, we saw what happened.
Yeah.
I think that played huge.
Big factor.
That was a huge factor in the last game because as we know, he was, had a targeting penalty early in that game, and then he wasn't in. And if you looked on the sidelines, Saban went over to his guys, and he said, he went over to Mechie. He went over to, Robinson. Hey, I need somebody else to step up. This guy's sitting here playing special teams trying to get us to win. And because of the bogus penalty, he's out of the game. So he's going to be coming guns a-blazing, definitely going to try to do it. But I still think you guys are going to be overwhelming because without him, when he was shut down or he's not in the game, neither is Auburn.
And going back to saying, if Auburn plays like they played against Alabama, if Alabama plays us against they did against Auburn, then we will pretty much stomp a mud hole. But I mean, I don't foresee that happening. But they're going to pull out all the stops. But
not to mention that Brian Robinson has an upper leg injury. I don't know if you saw when he was clutching his hamstring. So the nature and severity of the injury has not been disclosed. Yeah. But he's got an upper leg injury. He may not be available, and he is definitely one.
I think we got people coming back. I think we have people coming back if they didn't already come back last week. Or
Pickens and Blaylock have both been cleared. I don't think coach is going to run with them yet.
Blaylock played last week.
No.
Was he in uniform? I don't even remember.
I don't know. All the focus was on Pickens, and he actually got out there and ran a couple of routes, and that was about it. But So there we have it. I think we're looking at. I think we kind of have an idea where everybody on the show stands. Those of you just watching, thank you for joining us for this week's edition of This Week in SEC Football. I am Mr. Fingaz from Zagnif Central. That guy over there, the Bama do what Bama does guy. That's Collin P, my brother from another. And down here joining us, even though he has some ventures going on, he is still a part of the show. The shout-out king himself, Mr. Sean Spencer. And so, gentlemen, I got a segment I want to do here. Moving in, this will be our final segment going out. And this segment will be brought to you, ladies and gentlemen, by Envision Social Media. They are a social media structure company. They help you set up and do all of the you understand what I'm saying. They help you get your social media on fleek is what they do. So if you want to get with them, go to www.envisionsocialmedia.com to help you with your solutions for your social media platform today. Now, our last segment is called SEC final grades. The regular season is over. Results are in. We know how everybody did. And before we even get into that, I even made a little ditty to go with it. It's even got its own little intro. So there we go. So
Nice.
Very nice.
SEC final grades. I already have mine in place. Where did I put my thing here? So we're just gonna run through these. We're gonna run through them real quick, and we'll just go in the same order. And then I'll put mine up on the screen. We're gonna start with the West. So Sean, Alabama, overall grade
Overall, C+.
C plus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why just give me a quick why.
I think we all kind of, or I'll speak for myself. I think I definitely looked into them and maybe even overlooked them because I thought that they were just going to be. I'm not going to take your line from you, Collin. Go ahead.
You can. Okay.
Because Bama does what Bama do. You know what I mean?
That's right. Permission granted.
Like we saw what happened with Clemson. You know, after the great generational talent leaves, and then it's like they kind of almost fell off. Not their defense as much, but their offense definitely has been searching for, you know, a leader.
Yeah.
I think that kind of, you know, we overlooked the fact that, yeah, you know, Bryce Young has these great numbers and he's playing great that way, but they're not really looking that great. You know what I mean? Honestly. Mm-hmm. And I personally think the way, especially with this last game, look, they look like a team that lost a whole bunch of NFL talent. And by the sheer fact that they are who they are, they have all these 5-star recruits coming in. So they're going to be head and shoulders above most teams, and they're going to be able to find a way to win because they're that talented. But they aren't really that good, if that makes sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like if 3 years, these guys all play together and they don't get hurt by the transfer portal, yes, they're going to be one of these elite teams again. But right now, right, I don't think they're that they're not what we're used to. It's not we're you know, every year like, oh my God, we really have to go into this game. Like all three of us picked Georgia to win, and Georgia is head and shoulders above. But it's almost like we're kind of like not disrespecting Alabama, but like this year they just don't look that great. I mean, we watched them, you know.
Well, I think they're still a great team. I just think they're not the level of greatness where they normally are. But having said that, Collin, we're gonna bring it to you. What do you got?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm kind of maybe a little bit higher than Sean, maybe a B or maybe a B minus. Because I mean, you know, just what we were talking about, you know, this is not the Bama that we're used to, and you know, I think it goes along with kind of what Nick Saban was saying in his you know, presser or whatever is you know, about everybody's used to this, that, and other, and now everybody's disappointed because it's not the way it used to be, and it's, you know, that kind of bringing up old stuff, as they say. They definitely haven't been.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't mean to cut you off.
The caliber they are. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah, did you see the response that some of the fans have had to him in response? It's like, hey, do your job. It's your job to coach the team.
What's he been doing for the past years? He's been there.
Right. All right. So we're gonna kind of rapid fire these here. Ole Miss, what you got, Sean?
Ole Miss, I'll give them, all things considering, I'll give them a B plus.
Okay. All right. What you got, Collin?
Yeah, I'll give him a B. I mean, I'm right there, just maybe a B. Yeah, around B. They did actually pretty well.
Alrighty, I've got mine out. I did a little presentation. You know, I can't. You know, Shay got to do. You know, he got to do a little something. So I got a little presentation. I'm gonna show y'all when it's all said and done. We'll pick a couple, like maybe every other one. We'll give an explanation, but just for the sake of getting through these teams here, Arkansas, Collin, what you got?
We will give them. Actually, I'll give them a B.
Okay. And that's saying something, given, you know, a couple of years ago it'd have been like a F.
Right.
Yeah. A D minus.
Yeah. B. You said B minus?
B minus, yeah.
B minus. All right, what you got, Sean?
I got a B too. They surprised me.
All right. Let's see. Let's take a little bit to talk about this one here. Mississippi State. Sean, what you got?
Ooh, I got a D plus. I love what. Look, I.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I love what Will Rogers has done. I love Leach and how he's implemented that offense, that air raid offense. You can't question that definitely works. But I think by doing that, you kind of neglected maybe some of the other sides. The defense is struggling. You have certain talent on offense, but with the air raid offense, there's an absence of a run game. So I think there's potential there. And maybe in a couple years, if they get the right recruits, the right transfers, they could compete. I don't know. I have to go back and look what year Will Rogers is. But if he's got at least a year or two more, then they could be somebody that if everybody stays healthy and they get the right recruits, I think you can see them in a couple years. But as of this year, is D plus, and maybe I'm being a little harsh.
Will Rogers got 2 more years. Will Rogers is a sophomore.
Oh yeah, okay. Well then, yeah. Then I think that's a perfect score. I think they have potential, but this year with things going, I think they're just young, they're green, and I'm looking forward to see what they come with the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can kind of piggyback on him, but I agree. They need a little more time, in my opinion. They're 75. They finished. Did they finish 75? I don't know where they finished. But
yeah, they did.
I'm wrong.
They finished the season 75. What did you say you gave them? I didn't hear you.
Oh, my bad. So I won't be as harsh as a D plus. I give them a C.
Okay. This one just for record, just for me to jump in on one of them. They actually were ranked in top 30 in both offense and defense this season, surprisingly. Just for frame of reference. Let's see. Moving on to the next one here. Texas A&M. We'll go with you again first, Sean.
I'm gonna go. I think I have to go B. I want to. A lot of it comes from that victory over Alabama, but then we also have to ask the question: how big is that victory over Alabama? Because of all the things we've said about Alabama. So
right.
But look, they got to. Go ahead.
For Mississippi State, I would tend to think that is a big victory, regardless of how Alabama. I mean, even though Alabama, because I'm sorry, I'm thinking A&M. I thought we were still talking about Mississippi State. Never mind.
Yeah. No, I'm
never mind.
Either with the backup, they've had Calzada all year.
Hey, late breaking news, fellas. LSU to hire Notre Dame's Brian Kelly just came through the hot wire. Yes,
like right now, is he going to coach
right now? My phone just beeped right now. Brian Kelly coming.
Oh wow! Oh, wow. Here
goes Notre Dame.
Wow, my boy Donnie is probably pissed as hell right now. So when is he leaving to go coach LSU? I'm guessing next season.
I don't know. Let me see. Hold on. Let's see where it comes in. LSU set to hire Notre Dame's Brian Kelly as next head football coach in a shocking move. Kelly 16 coach hours. Doesn't really say.
Well, we'll come back to that. We might touch on that later this week. But I need your grade on A&M, sir.
A&M, yeah, I'm with a B plus actually, because I'll take that Alabama, but it does factor in the Bama that we have this year. But that was a huge win for them, and they look pretty good this year.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Rapid fire on these next two. Collin, I got Auburn.
I don't want too bad on them. I'd say I'd say C.
And do you, sir, Mr. Spencer?
Yeah, C minus.
Yeah, I was gonna put that minus on there.
Okay. And then last but certainly not least in the West, LSU. Sean, what you got?
That's loaded.
C
Loaded.
Yeah, that is loaded. C+ because of everything they've had to deal with. They've put up some good numbers in some games, so I got to go C+ with them. With the whole Oldron situation.
Yeah, no, I'm with Sean on that. Probably, yeah, I'd go C+ because with the old situation and them winning that last game, actually, improved a little bit. So yeah, I gave him that plus for me. That last.
Hey, Collin, our mutual number one Notre Dame fan, Donnie. I don't know if he's watching the show or not, or if he's watching the show or not. And he just hit me in my inbox and Messenger. WTF. That's all he hit me with.
Over. WTF over.
Oh, what did you say? What did you say for LSU, Collin?
Oh, I said what did I say? C+. I said that win, the finish out of the season gave him the plus.
Yeah. I let's see where I graded them alongside you guys. Let's make sure I got the right one. Oh, yes, that is the right one there. Can y'all see that?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So I made a nice, pretty presentation here. I got to go back to the YouTube thing to see if it's showing up on the YouTube.
Man, you gave a lot of A's out there, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, what I did was I went to the NCAA website and I pulled up where they were and how they performed this year.
Okay.
Based on total offense and total defense and their ranking. And I had a structure to it. Like if they finished at least top 25, top 30, they got an A or A minus. If they finished below that, they got a C, B, C, D. So according to the NCAA rankings, Bama got an A+, Mississippi got a B, Arkansas got a B, and you guys can see them. A- for Mississippi State, B- for Texas A&M, and C's for Auburn and C's for Auburn and LSU. And I was kind of along with you guys with my rankings, except for you both gave Arkansas. Both of you gave Arkansas B's, and Mississippi State was like BC, and that was an A. And you both had Alabama in the C+ B- range. Now you guys are looking at what you saw. That was your eye test versus how they were ranked, how they were ranked in the NCAA. So we're going to kind of jump into the East, and we're going to go rapid fire on these puppies. We're going to go rapid fire on these puppies here. We got we'll start with the obvious one at the bottom, Vanderbilt. I don't even need to show you that chart. I gave them a big fat F.
Foxtrot.
Yeah.
Oh, here's funny. They just fired Derek Mason last year. Ask me who the defensive coordinator was that almost beat Alabama last week.
Who?
Derek Mason. He's at Auburn.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember hearing that.
Yeah. So are we all in agreement that Vanderbilt gets an F?
Yeah. Yeah. They're the only team that get to a bowl. It was like 13 out of 14 teams got a bowl, but they don't.
Yes. Every team except Vanderbilt got a bowl. And also, fun fact with this looking at this list, something else that I noticed that was very surprising and made me happy and proud because my team is in this conference. Every team except for that team also had a winning home record.
Nice.
Every single one.
Home record or winning? Okay.
Home record. They had a winning record at home. Everybody except Vanderbilt had a winning record at home.
Wow.
Yeah, even and LSU was a shocker in the West. They were 5-2 at home. They just couldn't get it done on the road.
Right.
So let's see what we got. Florida, Collin.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Well, I mean, emotions to the side there. Yeah, I mean, I'll give him a D-. I ain't gonna fail him straight out. I mean, D-.
What you got there, Sean?
Oh man, I'm trying to be nice, but I know where I am.
Let's go where you go, man.
You know what? I'll say
go where you're getting.
I'll say D+ because they tried, even though they had.
Did they though? Did they try? Did they really try?
They won some games that I was shocked with, and this Florida State was one of those games I was shocked with. Even though Florida State's not great, but I thought they completely given up. So
and
I got a D+.
They did try to win some games. I mean, they just came up short. You know.
Yeah. Well, I thought that they were going to carry that momentum of the close game with Alabama through the season, and it just wasn't enough to keep them going. And I mean, I heard about 3 or 4 different radio television announcers say, did Georgia completely break Florida? Because they just fell all the way off the
I
edge.
think we broke a lot of teams this year.
Yeah. So that's where they are with that. South Carolina, Sean, go.
I'll give them a B. I thought they really fought hard this last part of the year. They won some games I didn't think they should have won in all intents and purposes. I think they played good. So B.
All right, what you got, Collin?
Yeah, I kind of I'll go B- on that because I agree with Sean on that. Because they did definitely fight. They did fight hard. I mean, it wasn't the second line we've seen of old, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Shane Beamer. Also, his name reportedly on the longer portion of the addendum portion of the list of coaches being looked at to go to Oklahoma University. Missouri, Collin, go.
Oh dear Lord, you know how I feel about Missouri.
No, why don't you tell us?
I don't feel like failing nobody. Though. I'm a good teacher. I ain't gonna fail no student. We'll go D.
Okay. D as in David.
D as in David. Yes, sir.
Okay. How about you, Sean?
I'm gonna go C. I really think there's just the running back Tyler Beatty is being slept on. He's got over 1,600 rushing yards. He had a 200-yard performance last week. So I got to give him credit. Bazelak, some of those guys, but the rest of them suck. But I got to give him a C. And I watched them. I liked them. That's the only reason why.
Okay.
Wow. Be honest.
Yeah.
You got to be honest. Tennessee, Collin, I'm going to bring it back to you. What you got?
Well, you know how I feel about Tennessee too, man. They can't be throwing mustard like that. I don't know. See, we'll give them a B. B minus.
Mm-hmm.
Need to get deep.
They are getting a little bit better. They
Need to get deep. You said D is in David again?
No, B is in boy.
Okay, B minus. All right, and Sean, what you got?
I gotta go B. I'm going B plus. I think they shocked us. Even when we like in the beginning of the year, they're like 4-2. We were all looking at each other like, "Wait, what? Are you serious?"
Yeah. How did they get there? How did they get a record deal?
Right. But hey, Heupel's got the boys playing. Hendon Hooker is a underrated, solid quarterback. So they did a lot better than I thought they were going to do this year. So
agreed.
Absolutely.
Agreed. I agree. And now we are on to Wesley Gaines' favorite team, the University of Kentucky Wildcats. Sean, go.
I'll give them a C plus. They definitely raised out the woods. I didn't think they were going to be that great at all, and they showed some stuff. So I'll give them a C plus.
And for you,
they've been continually getting better. It seems like. I mean, year by year, they're trying to get there, and then they're making progress. I agree with Sean. C plus. I'll go right there with you.
Okay, and then last but certainly not least, the beast of the East. Those junkyard dogs.
We gotta do A+.
Right. Just A. What big boy say? In the
From
A.
the A, baby.
You in the
From the
A.
Welcome to the A.
Let's go.
Oh man. So this is what came up here with the way that they had this thing set up. And now again, bear in mind this was based on offensive and defensive ranks.
Mm-hmm.
So we all got F's. Poor Vanderbilt. God damn.
Yeah. Actually, I tend to
I
tend to agree a little bit more with what they came up with here with Kentucky, because Kentucky, when Terry Wilson was their quarterback, they were having a great year. They had a come up. I think they went 7-5, or I think it was 7-5 or something like that. Then he got hurt. Or they were on their way. They were right on our heels. Then he got hurt. Then he tried to come back last season and didn't really do much. And he's not there anymore. So what they did, I was impressed with. Mustard to the side. Yeah, definitely impressed with Tennessee. Florida, believe it or not, has a top 30 or close to top 30, a top 30 offense, and close to a top 30 defense. Whisper close. So, like I said, these grades were based on what I got off the NCAA website. In terms of where they were ranked in terms of total offense and total defense. Now, there's some other variables that we could break down and get into, but we're not going to do that here. Again, ladies and gentlemen, that was SEC grades for the season, and that was brought to us by envisionsocialmedia.com. See, I almost forgot. I remember. And go visit them at envisionsocialmedia.com today. Thank you for being a segment sponsor of this week in SEC football. Gentlemen, you know what? I like that. I like that intro. I got to play it one more time. There we go. All righty. Gentlemen, anybody got anything for the good of the crowd? Any final words? I gotta say this. I enjoy doing this show with you guys. I sincerely do. And Sean, great to have you back in the fold.
Oh yeah, welcome back, dude.
You always welcome to jump on anytime, even if you. Here's what we gonna do for you. We gonna grant you VIP status. Which means that if we got a show going and you ain't got nothing going, and you hit me in the inbox of me and Collin, I'll send you the code. You can go ahead and jump on, give you a commentary. And
not only that, I'll give you permission to use my catchphrase. So you can use that any way you want to go. You can say "Bama dub or Bama do," and say it when you want to say it.
Wrong.
The Bama does what Bama do.
I keep forgetting which one it is. There we go.
Otherwise, it is copywritten without it.
Oh, right. Hey, look, I appreciate it.
From me.
Hey, look, I appreciate it, but look, just like Anthony, Collin, Anthony's on on my shows, on Nathan's shows. Hey, if you're available, we can always use you. So come on.
Dude, I'm always bored, man. I'm always bored. I'll be there. I'll talk. It's all good.
By the by, we got the t-shirts made for the show, and we're going to go ahead. I already talked to Collin. We're going to go ahead and get ours so we can have them. They won't be here in time. Did you buy yours yet, Collin?
I can't, man.
I got you. I feel you. So we won't have them for the SEC championship, but we're going to have them in time enough for the CFP. So,
yes, sir.
So we'll have them, and we'll still be doing. We'll still be doing enough shows to talk about at least the bowl games that are coming up, because every team except Vanderbilt is in the bowl. So we're going to have at least one team or another playing in a bowl game somewhere at some point during the week that we'll come on and we'll talk about. Nice. So,
I do want to mention, you talked about, are there any other games I wanted to mention? I want to mention Western Kentucky versus University of Texas, San Antonio. That's going to be a game. I think that's going to be a good one. San Antonio, hey, they've had the best year by far in their entire history. Almost, going up undefeated up until a week ago when they finally took their first L. And Western Kentucky, their quarterback leads the country in passing yards. So, I think this is going to be a good game.
Absolutely. You asked me about that game probably a couple weeks ago. I think you asked when you were on there. Yeah, so just so you know, I mean, West Kentucky is actually picked by 1, so that's a pick 'em. I mean, that's going to be
wow.
Yeah, they picked by 1, and overall, there's no defense evidently. There's 71.5 over under. Yeah, so I mean, it might be a shootout, but yeah, no, that tough loser, man. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm definitely on you. I'm on that train.
Their quarterback, Zappy, has thrown 4,968 yards, 52 TDs, and 9 interceptions. Obviously, he's not playing super major competition, but you still putting up numbers like that, is to be respected. Somewhat like similar to Will Rogers. So it's that's one of the ones I've kind of got my eye on. Like, let me see what they do.
Is that even televised, or you got to watch that on
CBS special network, something like that. So
special network,
yeah. I'll find the link.
Yes, their only loss was last.
It's gonna be another one of them. It's gonna be another one of them YouTube games you're gonna have to cast to your TV.
Mm-hmm. I've had fun doing that. I was like, oh man, there's all these live games on. Okay.
Wow, they're not messing around with Brian Kelly. Somebody has already changed his Wikipedia information to head coach at LSU 2022.
Wow.
I want to find out how much money they're paying that dude.
Oh yeah, they paying him a lot.
More than $12 million. I guarantee more than $12 million. I guarantee.
I want to know when they started talking to him, man, because he was the only thing I respected at Notre Dame right now.
That's
Well,
like
here's
right
my
out of nowhere that came up.
well,
I mean,
here's
his name
my
wasn't even out
question.
there.
Here is my question where that is concerned. With the package that Notre Dame has going on right now, he basically has carte blanche. Like, it's my understanding that there are some restrictions to what some of the other coaches can do recruiting wise because of the conferences that they're in and the regions that they're in. Brian Kelly can recruit anywhere because he's not
Oh, he's
beholden to a
independent, yeah.
conference.
Right.
He can recruit anywhere. He can recruit. He can pick up a
Yeah.
kid. He can
For sure.
flip a couple. Hey, he can flip a couple of recruits from Buck Tussle right now. You know what I mean? You're like, hey kid, let's get you from out of here. Let's get you from out of the pig pits, and let me introduce you to a guy named Touchdown Jesus. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm just wondering what it is that would make him want to leave that.
Where has he been before Notre Dame? Do you know that?
Cincinnati. I got it. I got it pulled up
Cincinnati.
right here. He was at Grand Valley State. Hold on. He was at Grand Valley State.
Because I was just wondering. I was wondering how his mentality with the independent world. Is he able to transfer? Yeah, if he was Cincinnati, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean he was at Grand Valley State. They won a couple of D2 titles. He went to Central Michigan and he was at Cincinnati, and then he came to Notre Dame. And so he's gotten the teams to the playoffs. He knows what he's doing. I'm just wondering if that means that maybe there's something that we don't know behind the scenes. Like maybe they're leaning towards with the bigger playoff coming, that means the independents are going to have to join a conference, and that might throw some monkey wrenches in how he's able to recruit because they might have to join a conference. And if he's going to take control of a team, he'd take control of a team in a league. I mean, come on, let's be real, fellas. You got Louisiana Monroe and Louisiana Raging Cajuns, but they are no recruiting competition for LSU. One state, and he could just go down there and just pick up everything in the state from the rooter to the tutor.
Very true.
Yeah,
but I'm just curious how that all shakes out later on. So eyes open. I think we're going to get some shocking news either first part of the year or as it gets closer to the beginning of the 2022 season with regard to regards to the independents and the playoffs.
Well, no, I think it's just crazy. Yeah. No, I was saying I think it's just crazy. I mean, 10, 15, 20 years ago, Notre Dame was the dream job. And now, these guys are leaving to go this way and that. Look, I really thought he was building something over there. I was thought he was bringing credibility back to Notre Dame. Even though they don't win in the national championships, they're getting there. And, for a team that isn't in a conference and plays, certain select teams every single year, for the fact that they were getting there year in and year out was, it's something to say. And it honestly, this just shocks me, man. This really just just blows me out of the water because I'm just like,
it was very surprising to me. But I can tell you one thing about him though, he definitely kept it more under the radar than Lincoln Riley did.
Right.
Nobody. If this wasn't a spur of the moment decision, he kept it on the low, real good. Learn something.
In those last couple of weeks, he was in the hunt in the the ACC and some of the games, some of the things he was doing. I'm like,
yeah,
what?
Well, they've come close to beating us. You know what I'm saying? They beat Anthony, a couple of years ago. They're really close. They had really good games against them.
Right.
Yeah. So every game that we played, against Notre Dame, in my memory, and that going all the way back to the Sugar Bowl. It's always been close. It's never been a blowout one way or the other. So
another late breaking news: Bobo out as offensive coordinator at Auburn. He's gone. Mike Bobo was fired from Auburn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Does that really surprise you?
No,
not at all.
The Georgia fans were ready to run Bobo out of Athens on a rail, man.
Well, he was. Where was he at before that? He was at Auburn, and he was at where the hell was he at? He was at Colorado, right? Was he in Colorado?
I thought he was with us, and then he went
head coach in Colorado. He was a head coach somewhere.
Oh, head coach? I don't know.
Anyway, sorry. Going off.
It's all good.
The rail there.
Well, gents, and ladies and gentlemen, we thank you, each and every one of you. Yes, the two of you that I can see that are watching right now, and the others that are hiding, and those of you that are watching the replay later on, we appreciate each and every single one of you for watching this show with us today. Hope your weeks are off to a great start. On behalf of myself, because I am Mr. Fingaz, that is the brother from another, Collin. That guy right there, that is putting away his light ring. Is
I'm sorry.
look, I was like,
Mr. Hill.
I was like, what you get ready to film a TikTok video, or do you doing Beyonce? Hello. Anyway.
Oh, I'm single ladies.
Hey, Washington's down 7-3 right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you go because I know you want to watch that game. I want to check that out too.
And shout out to Ab. He's there. He's at the game. So let's
shout out to our guy.
He don't get in a fight.
The number one fan. Yeah, no doubt. Ab would be the one. Ab would be the one to do it.
Yo, Ab was like, man, you go to a game with me? I was like, Ab, you got wild, man. Like,
hey,
I know when you start drinking.
And he just got done telling the story last night about how he was out with his boys, and all of a sudden,
and look, that's one of the situations with you. It's like, no, Ab, dang, all right, man, let's go, man. We gonna have to do this. I ain't gonna let you sit out here by yourself, man. Well, there's 10 of them. Oh, come on.
That answers my question. That's the same Ab I know. That's the same. That answers my question. He's the same Ab I know. All right.
I love that guy, man. I've known that man for several years.
He's most definitely awesome.
Look, I'll tell you one story real quick. We played football. He was a year ahead of me. And his senior year, my junior year, we were both running back. So I was backing him up. And so I had just come off injured list. And, I first game back against our rivals. And he's playing most of the game. And I'm just sitting next to coach like, all right, I'm ready. Third down. Coach says, all right, man, we need a little speed. Sean, get in there. Run a toss. All right. Every play I've ever run, I've been in the zone. I felt good at it. This play, I felt like I had cement shoes on. Like I could not run. I ran and I tried to run. It was like slow motion. I got tackled right away. I ran over to the sideline. Coach was so mad he didn't even talk to me. Like he didn't say anything. So I ran up next to Ab and I was like, he's like, what the hell is wrong with you, man? I was like, Ab, I just froze. I froze. This man literally like palm just, pow. He said, get it together. Right? And then he just kept back in the game, and I was like, yeah, all right, man. I tell that story because it was iron sharpening iron. My guy held me accountable, man. Never had that problem again, man. Ab is my dude. Awesome. I love that story.
Because as the pastors say, the race is not given to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, but to he that shall endure, he shall receive the crown of life that God has promised to everyone that believeth in him.
Let's get it.
And maybe it was like when you had it was like when Christ knocked hell out of Peter. Maybe you had to have the hell knocked out of you so you could run like you was trying to get to heaven. Can I get an amen?
Come on now. Amen.
All right. On that note, we gonna look to our friends to be dismissed. Don't forget to stop by the collection plate on your way out. If you don't have no cash and you didn't bring none because you thought that we would let you slide, don't forget we know who you are, where you live, and how much you're supposed to be tithing because we got your W-2s. Go ahead and hit us on the Cash App real quick. We got the QR code right next to the basket. Just go ahead and bloop, and it's right there. Look from the digital airwaves to God's ears to do his work. Thank you so much. We appreciate y'all. We got to get the hell out of here. I'm Fingaz. That's Collin. That's Sean. This has been This Week in SEC Football, and we will catch y'all on Thursday.
Yes, sir.